That's not mine.
Good there, Frank?
Ready?
I'm ready.
All right, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. It is December 29th, 2020. We will call the Wright County Board of Commissioners to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to our last county board meeting of the year. So we will start with our minutes from the 15th of December.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the county board minutes from December 15th.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Vetch. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Borrell. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. The agenda, is there anything that needs to be added or removed?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All right. Motion made by
Second.
Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
The consent agenda. Would anyone like to remove any item for further discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Delyden.
I'll
Is there a
second it.
second? By Commissioner Borrell. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Consent agenda is approved. All right. Moving on, right on time to our timed agenda items.
All
Mr.
right.
Lee Kelly, County Administrator.
I'll go to the podium if that works.
Yes, please do.
Greg, you wanna? So board, per Minnesota statute 197.60, we need to appoint officially a veteran services officer. So two things, we'll need a motion to do so, and then I will give Greg, who was, of course, doesn't seem like it's been 4 years, but it has.
No.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we reappoint Greg Picard as our Wright County Veteran Service Officer.
Second.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Borrell, seconded by Commissioner Potter. And did you have anything to read or add, or just?
I guess I'm continually impressed at the work you've done over the past 4 years. I feel you've done a great job of getting out to the veterans, making that connection, build those relationships. And like I said, it's either you or I, the last one here every day. So
I know. I will agree to that, because you're both here before I get here, and no matter how late I've been here, one of you has always been here.
Well, I have a very understanding wife, so.
Yeah.
About
Appreciate
working late, not about a lot of other stuff.
Right. Well, appreciate.
Yeah, and I'd like to personally thank the board for all your support over the last 4 years. Yeah, I mean, I'm the person in the public, but I do the things I do because you guys give me the support I need to do that. This is all for you guys. All attributable to you to give me the power to do what I need to do and the courses that I need to do for our veterans.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Greg, just to, we've had this conversation before. The contract that the veterans sign, it's a promise for a promise. They promised to serve, we promised to do our part, take care of them. They took care of their part, now we have to take care of our part. And I think for a few years it wasn't quite viewed that way, but I view it that way, real simple. It's a contract, and we're just fulfilling our end of it.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I do want to go and say that, Greg, the numbers in itself show how amazing of work you're doing. The veteran contacts over the last couple of years have doubled, which is amazing. I mean, it's just goes to show you that just the information wasn't out there and we weren't doing our due diligence, and you've done an excellent job on bringing us up to par and taking us beyond that. So I want to thank you for that.
Agreed.
And a
Thank you.
recognition, it's not me, it's the team.
Well,
All right, Debbie and Colleen and Steve and the new veteran service officer, they are amazing. They're the ones that are the first contact for most of the veterans. I'm the, they get referred to me, but those people are the ones who have the face-to-face first contact with them, and that's what gives us our reputation for the office of helping the veterans. Because a lot of times, they're answering the questions and helping the veterans before I ever get to them. So it's not me, it's a team, absolutely. And put a different person in there, that team would still be productive.
We applaud you.
Thank you.
Madam
Thank you.
Chair?
Yes.
Well, I'm not so sure if you put in another person in there, they'd be productive, because in the past, they haven't been. So obviously, it's the leader at the helm that makes a difference. And I do, you know, of all the bad things that have happened in 2020, one of the most positive things is that you've had to wear a mask, and it's made your face look so much better. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, my, yeah.
Oh, my.
Well, here's to 4 more years, and I'm sure they'll go just as fast as the last 4 have, so
Yes, ma'am.
please stay with us. Yeah.
I will.
Thanks,
I'm not
Greg.
going anywhere.
Did we
Thank you.
vote on that yet?
No, we did not vote on it, did we? All right. So motion was made by Commissioner Borrell, have to think back to so long ago, and seconded by Commissioner Potter. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Official oath. I, Greggy Pickard,
I, Gregory Pickard,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
and that I will faithfully execute and discharge the duties
I will faithfully execute and discharge the duties
of the Office of Veteran Services in the County of Wright,
of the Office of Veteran Service in the County of Wright,
in Minnesota,
in Minnesota,
according to the law, and will do to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to the law, and will do to the best of my ability and understanding.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Our second timed item,
Yeah, I'll go into the second item. As you know, there's been additional funds allocated for business relief. We've been working at staff and with discussions with Commissioner Vetch and moving forward and putting together an application. We have approximately a little over $2.6 million that have been allocated per the formula to the county. We wanted to get this in front of you today for you to review, as we'd like to get these funds out to businesses as soon as we can. So attached for your review is the program description as we've laid it out in the application form. That would be the first thing for action today. Second would be for the approving, establishing a committee to review applications when they come in and further develop the program. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. I believe the application and all materials were attached to the packet today. So.
all right.
Madam Chair?
So Commissioner Vetch.
So this is, just to recap this back, so in mid-December, the legislature approved $242 million for business relief, and the breakdown of $114.8 million of it was issued to counties for allocation. There was another $88 million that was breaking out for restaurants, gyms. Now, this application was kind of created with a lot of input from a lot of different business people. Some of the legislators contacted myself and kind of gave some input on what they would like to make sure that we're making funds available to. This is a work in progress. There's a lot more language that I'd like to see be added to it. Just from a perspective I've been reading a lot of different applications and finding a lot better information over the last week. But we needed to get something out there, and we wanted to kind of get this moving fast because we want to be able to see funds be dispersed hopefully middle of January, late January. So I ask that everyone supports this here as a draft, and understanding that the committee that will be established will be probably making edits and additions to the language going forward.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because we're maybe all getting requests already, so people are asking, you know, when is this going to be happening? So I think that we do need to move on this.
Madam Chair?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Commissioner
this
Wright,
is above and beyond what the,
CARES Act.
what the state is providing
Oh.
directly to businesses.
Right.
Yep.
The restaurants and gyms, bowling alleys, and theaters, I believe. That's going direct to them. So
Direct.
this is above and beyond that, but it's kind of geared to the same type of situation.
All right, so,
I'll make a motion to approve the business relief program.
I'll second that.
all right. Motion made by Commissioner Delight, seconded by Commissioner Vetch. Is there any discussion? I guess I would just say, we're going to appoint the 2 county commissioners today?
That was the intent, because we were hoping to have meetings pretty soon after this.
All right. So we'll just go ahead and approve number 1, the business relief program description application. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Second item would be to approve the establishment of the committee. So as administrator, yes,
If you don't mind, I'd like to be on that committee.
all right.
Some of the business background, I think it'd
Yep, okay.
be
That's
useful.
Madam Chair, as well, I'd like to serve on that committee
Yep.
as well.
Commissioner Vetch, yeah, you've been active in the,
I'll make a motion to that effect to
right.
appoint those 2.
all right. And the rest of the committee
And the rest
that's
of the committee,
listed. All right. Motion made by Commissioner Potter. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Borrell. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Number 3, authorize the Business Relief Committee to process a business relief application, determine funding allocations within the funding groups. And then the caveat is the funding reports will be made to the board on a regular basis under the consent agenda, as per usual it was with the CARES Act. So,
Yep, that's what I was going to add, Madam Chair. We were meeting on a weekly basis as a group when we did CARES. The thought was we'd use a similar process and pattern. Meet weekly, as things get approved and reviewed, they'd come to the board as a consent agenda item for the full board to review and approve.
all right.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Motion
second
made by
it.
Commissioner Lyden, seconded by Commissioner Vetch. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All right. That item is approved. So, yeah, thank you for, we've got a whole nother round of dollars to process, huh? All right. All right, welcome, Greg Kreiser.
Yes, welcome board.
County
Good to be
Attorney.
before you again. Today I just have a quick resolution. This is following up on the project with the Collinwood Regional Park. We obtained a letter of credit from the contractor on the project as a security to complete this contract, because it kind of went a little longer than we anticipated, but he's coming up on a deadline here in 2 days to either renew the letter of credit or we can authorize it to be rescinded. Mark Mattice indicated to me that everything's been done on it. We just have a little retainage left, I think, for warranty work. So it's staff's recommendation that you approve the resolution and release the letter of credit.
All right. Essentially a housekeeping item.
Yes, it is, but it'll
point.
save the contractor quite a bit
Yep.
of money here.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve a resolution to terminate the letter of credit for, was it Gherkin Brothers?
That's correct.
I'll second that.
All right. I heard Charlie just a half a second before you.
Oh,
Motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Borrell.
he's so quiet. I'm gonna miss that.
All right, and this is a resolution. Roll call vote, Commissioner Borrell.
Burrell votes aye.
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 All right, resolution passes 5-0. Thank you. All right. We're a couple minutes ahead of time, Virgil, but are you online, ready to join us?
Yes, whenever you're ready, Madam
All
Chair.
right. Go ahead, Mr. Virgil Hawkins, our highway engineer.
Well, good morning, Madam Chair and Board of Commissioners. There's one highway item today for your consideration. It's more of a housekeeping item, to approve a resolution to transfer excess municipal state aid construction funds to our regular state aid construction account. And state aid rules allow us to do this when we have a excess balance in our municipal state aid account. By resolution, we can transfer it to our regular account and not face any needs deduction.
Yeah. All right, I will look for a
Motion made.
motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Delyden. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner Vetch.
Aye.
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 All right, resolution passes 5-0. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. See you next time.
Bye.
All right. We've got a couple of minutes, about 5, before our 9:20 item. So perhaps Commissioner Borrell, would you like to do the committee of the whole minutes?
Yes, Madam Chair, the Committee of the Whole met on December 22nd. And before I begin, I just want to make a little correction pointed out to me by our board chair. On the third paragraph from the bottom line, it says, doesn't anticipate any outside of budget requests instead of out of budget. I think it probably sounds better.
Just clarifies a little bit. Thank you.
Okay. But anyway, Madam Chair, the committee met, and it was to discuss a confidential administrative assistant at the sheriff's office. And Sheriff Derringer pointed out the need for the administrative assistant, and this position was, as explained by Commissioner Hewsom, our chair, that it was approved in the 21 budget already, so, and there's not going to be any anticipated further spending. And then our human resources, I've been back up a second. Sheriff Derringer also requested that the person who would be filling the position, who is apparently an internal candidate, be granted a leave of absence from their current role in case a newly elected sheriff wouldn't keep this appointed person in the position. And our human resources, Johnson stated that the person appointed to this position would be able to go back to their previous position also. So, and anyway, again, Sheriff Derringer pointed out that he doesn't anticipate any outside of budget requests beyond what was already in the budget. And there was a consensus that this position be approved and passed on to the board today for. So with that, Madam Chair, I will make a motion that we approve the minutes and the recommendations as described.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Borrell, seconded by Commissioner Potter to approve the minutes and the recommendation. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion, minutes and the recommendation are approved. Still have a couple more minutes. Although we don't have, it's not a public hearing, so I guess we can go ahead and,
We could, yeah.
Mr. Riley, if you'd like to come up.
Good morning, Madam Chair, County Board.
Morning.
The 920 item is an amendment to the Wright County zoning ordinance. We held a public hearing on December 10th. The proposed language is in front of you. We provided the staff report, all the public input, and the minutes to the meeting. Part of the process was to notify all the townships and cities in the county and allow time for those townships and cities to hold a regular meeting in case they wanted to weigh in. Like I said, the meeting was held on December 10th, and at the end of the meeting, the public comment was closed. A formal motion was made, a recommendation was made, and forwarded to the county board. I'm going to let our assistant county attorney explain the legal format that the amendment has been put in front of you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Before you right now is ordinance amendment number 20-1. We took what the applicants provided to us as part of their application, and then we put it into our ordinance amendment format that we do. That's just a more formal process to put it before you, which lays out all the various sections and the fact that they're proposing to amend Chapter 155, which is the zoning ordinance. So all the ordinances that they're proposing to amend are before you. Everything here is an addition, so it's all underlined. There aren't any strike-throughs to the current ordinance. So I'm happy to go through any questions you have as to how it's been presented from the applicants, but otherwise we're here and the public hearing has been closed.
All right. Well, I guess, it probably is good for members of our public to maybe just read what the ordinance amendment says in the planning commission, or,
I can probably summarize it. I
Yep.
don't need to go through everything, I don't think, Madam Chair, but in Article 1, Section 1, we're adding a definition, number 165A, which would include a treatment or recovery facility, I should say, that applicants are proposing to amend. And then Section 2, under Section 155.048, General Agriculture, under parens 26, this would be adding a conditional use of a treatment and recovery facility to the or list of conditional uses. And then Section 3 is a performance standard. This would be creating a new section of 155.111, and it would have performance standards for treatment and recovery uses. The facility would have to have at least 60 contiguous acres of land. Right now, it says that the facility shall include at least 25,000 square feet of total floor area in one or more buildings. 3, clients may reside 24 hours per day under the care and supervision of chemical dependency or treatment and recovery program. The program must be overseen by a staff member with a state-issued professional license in mental health. And 4, the applicant shall submit a management plan for the facility and a floor plan showing the sleeping areas, communal areas, emergency exits, bathrooms, and staff living quarters. And then 5 is a parking requirement, which states that all the terms of parking shall be included in any conditional use permit, but there shall not be less than 4 per building. Parking must comply with our standards unless otherwise stated by the Planning Commission, and each residential building shall be accessible to emergency service vehicles by path or private road. So that really is the ordinance as presented by the applicants and reviewed by the Planning Commission.
and we sent this out to all the cities and townships, so we have 18 townships. We heard back from 9 of them. We have 17 cities, and we only heard back from 2 of them, so apparently there's not.
And I know at least one of them wanted the facility in their city. So,
Right. Yeah,
which they can do on their own.
right. And of course, this has operated as a facility since 1996, but what happened is the zoning removed what was under resort, essentially. I don't know if specifically a training facility would be considered a resort, but that's what they had it under. And so when they removed resorts from the ordinances, then it became essentially non-conforming, so it was issued a conditional use permit, and that's how they've been operating since.
Madam
So,
Chair?
yes.
And one thing that I might add too, and the discussion came up at our planning and zoning board meeting, was when we change an ordinance like this to demonstrate the need or the change in the county. And I'm just wondering if maybe we could hear from, Jamie, are you prepared to make, just to address that for the board? Because we didn't have anyone at planning and zoning to, I think I explained pretty well. Come on up, Jamie. I explained that as a commissioner, I see the need, but I thought it would be good to hear from somebody a little more in the trenches, I guess.
In the trenches. Yes, thank you. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Jamie Goodrum-Schwartz, the Health and Human Services Director in Wright County. And I did hear from Commissioner Borrell, I believe on Friday last week, and I was off yesterday, so I don't have any big formalized kind of thing put together. I'm just here to speak to, and there's nothing in front of me about Teen Challenge or ordinances. I just want to speak to what we see in the county right now in Health and Human Services. Couple of things just to start out with is Wright County is one of the youngest counties in the state, as we know. So our youth population is growing, not shrinking at this point. We also, I'll have to say we have not seen an increase in referrals for chemical dependency. However, we do know that there's more use and abuse out there right now for both alcohol and chemicals. So my concern is going forward, I think we will be seeing a huge uptick in the coming months. In Wright County, specifically in 2019, alcohol use amongst fifth graders was, in the past year was about 3% of all fifth graders, And for 11th graders, it's like over 41%. So we certainly still with us, and back to my days up till now, see a lot of alcohol abuse in our communities as well. As far as, mental health and things like that, we know what's going on in the county, that it's, while our number of cases have not increased to date, I think a lot of it with not schools being in place and a lot of the infrastructure not in place, what we do see are the escalations and the things that are coming out of our both chemical dependency and mental health areas as being very escalated as in compared to past years. And knowing that, and then Sarah Grotius has a lot of information regarding our CHIP, our Community Health Improvement Programs, or Health Improvement Plan, our CHIP plan for Wright County, identifies opioid use and drug abuse as two areas of concern that the community is behind in supporting. And then with my final statements is the board has heard recently that Wright County Health and Human Services, along with MEDA and other county organizations, were recently granted over $125,000 a year for the next 5 years in order for, I would say, chemical abuse education and prevention. And so that's one side of the coin. I think the county is getting very well situated, the education and prevention side of the coin, but what we still need is that response on the other side of the coin. And I think then should this come to fruition, and should an ordinance change, and should the organization that's being named be successful, or any organization, they still need to come and apply to Health and Human Services to make sure that any expansion in their role is supported by the community and by Health and Human Services. So we would still need to support their request for an extension or expansion, and at that point is when I would probably get the folks in my organization that are very familiar with this. At this point, I would say we would not support an expansion, that we would support an expansion of Teen Challenges services into Wright County in order to better serve our youth and our families.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions of Jamie? All right.
Okay.
All right.
And then, Madam Chair, if you'll indulge me, can I read a little bit? Yep. Madam Chair, what I'm going to be reading is actually a page out of a book written by former State Senator Steve Dill. Steve passed away this March. I was not aware of that. Yeah, so he had, I believe it was Parkinson's, but very, very well read and educated man. And I just want to read this, and it's called, this is just one page out of, it's actually a book about livestock, and this was written back in 2005, and there was a lot of fight over agriculture and residential areas and stuff. And he wrote this book and basically explains that livestock is good for the economy and good for the environment, and pointed out the need for all this stuff. And one of the pages he has in here is called, you know what, I'm going to pass that down in case I miss a word. It's called the Not in My Backyard Problem. And there are many things, I'll start off, there are many things America needs to make our society work. Some of those needs are met by physical structures near which many people do not wish to live. However, these structures need to be placed somewhere. For the benefit of society as a whole, I believe it is the duty as Americans to be willing to accept living in neighborhoods we may not find completely ideal. For example, we all need electricity. Someone must live next to the power plants, the transmission lines, the nuclear storage sites, the coal mines, oil wells, and pipelines to make electricity available to all of us. We all need automobiles, trucks, trains, and airplanes. Someone must live next to the iron mines, the automobile manufacturing facilities, the oil refineries, ethanol plants, gas stations, major highways, railroads, airports, gravel pits, asphalt, and concrete plants to make our transportation system work. We all need building materials. Someone must live next to the sawmills, the brick factories, the shingle factories, the retail outlets, and so on. Society needs landfills, jails, prisons, mental hospitals, halfway houses, and homes for the handicapped. Someone must live next to them. We also need food, fiber, and fuel to feed, clothe, and provide energy for a hungry and cold world. Somebody has to live near the farmers that produce these essential products. If everyone was successful in stopping a project in their neighborhood because of the not in my backyard problem, it would shut our country down economically, socially, and environmentally. We would not even be able to turn on the lights, put fuel in the car, or have a place to dispose of our garbage. For the good of society as a whole, let's do our duty and accept some structures in our neighborhoods which we do not like. After all, someone else is living in neighborhoods next to essential structures that they may not like. But we receive benefit from these structures, as does society as a whole. And I tell you, I just don't think it could be better said. So I thank Senator Dill up there looking down on us right now. I thank him for writing that so articulately. But that's what we're really up with this ordinance, you know. And I said we have the need for the treatment facility. As far as I'm concerned, it could be across the street from me, and I would be fine with it. Matter of fact, about a third of a mile away, I have one. And I tell you what, they are the greatest neighbors, and I know that these will be regulated with a conditional use. We're not talking specifically about Teen Challenge today or any specific location.
Correct.
But we are talking about the ordinance countywide. But every one of these applications will go through the Planning and Zoning on a conditional use permit. And I trust the Planning and Zoning Commission. I've served on it for 8 years now. And if anything, I think they're sometimes a little more restrictive possibly than need be. But these treatment centers are needed. I would rather have, and I think anybody would agree with this, I would rather have these people that are asking for help get that help rather than be out on the street, you know, and because there's so many good stories. I think we've gotten emails on both sides, but I read so many positive emails about people that have gone through the programs and have changed their lives. You know, now they're contributing back to society in a big way. So, Madam Chair, I support this ordinance amendment. I think there is a need for it in the county, and I hope the rest of the board supports it as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I can certainly appreciate people's opinions and their differing opinions. I was actually a little bit surprised. I worked in the jail when it was right next door here, and then we moved into the old jail, the old jail, and then the old jail in 1991. We are right in a residential area. Here's this Wright County Jail sitting in downtown Buffalo in residential areas. We released inmates 24 hours a day. I mean, we were around the clock. If someone would, you know, bond out at 2 in the morning, we released them. And I didn't hear of one incident in all my years that someone went over to somebody's house. And, you know, so, you know, I know when you have unknowns that you kind of wonder. But this facility with a different purpose, you know, has been there for all these years, 24 years. And when Sacred, I mean, we don't know if this is going to be approved. If we move forward with this amendment to the zoning ordinance, we're not saying anything specific, any particular group, but certainly with the history that Teen Challenge has and I think all the questions people had were answered very well as far as, you know, who they'll serve, are clients court ordered, are there public safety concerns, what type of programming, staffing ratios. There was concern about lots of extra traffic, and that's just not going to happen. A while ago, I lived on a street where we had a retreat center, King's House, and there was a lot of retreaters, and it just wasn't an issue when people would come and go. I mean, they'll have visiting on Saturday or Sunday, and they probably figure that 30 people, that's for families, and the ministers might be there more often or whatever, but they don't anticipate much more traffic at all than is currently there. But anyway, there's some of those concerns, but that would have to be addressed at the Planning Commission.
And Madam Chair,
What's coming before us today is, do we allow it? Because we've had a lot of different zoning things. I mean, people live on a lake, they're out in the country, they're ag, and it's appropriate to have ag residential. There are instances when these things make sense. And I mean, you can't say that no other treatment facility is gonna go up in the county. We don't know that. But it's not as likely that someone's gonna come in and build another one. Teen Challenge doesn't have any plans to do that.
The other thing too, Madam Chair, that I think needs to be looked at, and we did not talk about this, I don't think specifically at planning and zoning, but if these facilities are not controlled locally, which this ordinance would allow us to have local control,
Yep.
the state is going to step in because they're not going to deprive the people that need treatment. I mean, they're going to look at the big picture. So I think this gives some local control. I've heard the comment, Teen Challenge, yes, they're great. We know they have a great reputation. What about somebody else? Again, that's where our conditional use at the Planning and Zoning Commission will scrutinize every one of those applications, to make sure that it is good. Another thing that came up was people were concerned about their property values. And I can say in Waverly, where I'm actually from Woodland Township, but in Waverly, they have New Beginnings Treatment Center right on the north side of Waverly Lake. They sold off part of the property, and it's a housing development. Some of, if not the most expensive houses in Waverly. Matter of fact, our mayor lives there. So, no, it's just, it is not affecting housing values at all. And the people, that you could ask them in that housing development, they don't even know the treatment facility is right next door. So, but anyway, Madam Chair, like I said, there's so many good things over this that it just, and again, they have to be somewhere. It's just people don't want them next to them. And it's kind of like what Steve was just talking about. And I said my entire 8 years on the Planning and Zoning Board, there's kind of three things. Everybody's familiar with what I call just the standard objection when something's going to happen in their neighborhood. And one of them is the not in my backyard thing. The other one is, like you mentioned, the people that live on the lake. Now a farmer with 60 acres wants to put 4 houses there, and on the other side of the lake, they're just packed one after the other. And they object to that because, and I call that one, I got mine, but you can't have yours, And then the other one is, like with the solar panels or whatever, you're going to ruin my view that I don't own. That's the other one. That's kind of the three main things. And I don't know. I probably should be more understanding, but it almost gets laughable at some point because almost everyone, especially people in the city, people that are in the city are more tolerant, I think, than people that might have moved out from the city. They come out and say, I came out here for peace and quiet. And I say, you know what, if you want that, then you should have bought 160 acres and put your house in the middle of it. Because otherwise you're going to have things that affect your life. And for the good of society, we should be putting up with it. So, my diatribe for today. No, I'm not done yet, though, but I'll do.
And this particular property is in the transition zone, as they say, so that's the other sort of the, I don't know if you want to call it dichotomy, but there's, at some point, I mean, some people that responded said, well, they're, getting set up for sewer and water, and it's like, well, then that means, eventually you're going to be annexed into the city. So, and this particular property, but that is kind of neither here nor there, because that's not what's before us today, so.
Madam
Mr.
Chair.
Vetch?
So, Attorney Kreisler, just a question. So, if the ordinance was changed and a facility was put in there under this ordinance, and it would go through a conditional use process, and under that conditional use process, would that be tied then to the property, or would it be if the applicant, say, 10 years from now, then at that point changed ownership, would there be a trigger review of the conditional use permit?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Vetch, a conditional use permit traditionally goes with the land. The Planning Commission does have authority to put conditions on it that would limit that transfer, though. Create it into what we'd call an interim use permit. So that would be something that the Planning Commission could look at. They have done that in the past.
And we've done that
with
several
some
times.
businesses, yes.
Just, Madam Chair, just because in a situation like this, because the treatment from what it is now to what it could be next could be vastly different, and in which case, the conditional use permit could be,
That's what I said.
I would almost, I mean, not hardest thing, because it wouldn't come back to us, it would come back to the planning commission, and I would really, if it would move forward, I'd really urge the planning commission to put interim use on it for the fact that I would want, if it would change applicants and say it would change to be something grossly different from a treatment facility, that it would have to go through and actually get some approval.
Commissioner Vetch, I will all but guarantee that that is what the planning commission will be looking at seriously. We've had deals like this before where, what is it gonna be down the road? And this isn't a gravel pit, and sometimes I think we might even have done it with a gravel pit, because if it's in an area where we've had this really good operator who really follows the rules, and somebody's concerned about what if it gets sold, we've even done it, I can't remember for sure, but I think we may have done it with a gravel pit even.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Borrell, I think we have. I think we've even done it to like home businesses, like a salon once or twice, I
Yep,
think.
so when they're done with their cutting hair, the new person would have to reapply. So
Right, and-
I can't guarantee, but I can all but guarantee that's what they will be doing, Commissioner
The
Vetch.
thing is too, that there are conditions, and we've certainly had additional use permits in business, and there's a lot of businesses in the townships. And we've had to revoke people's, or not renew people's conditional use permits, or tell them, stop.
And we've
Revoke
had two cases, I think just in the last year, where one was a dog kennel where, and another one was another business where the hearing came before to take their conditional use permit away because of violation. And I tell you what, nothing wakes them up more than that, because oh, you can do that? Oh, yeah, we can do that. So, and both of them, I think both of those situations, the owners fixed the problem up, they resolved it rather than lose their conditional use permit. But the planning and zoning, that's part of why we have it. I mean, it's to keep things in check and people to follow the rules that are set out there, so.
Exactly. Mr. Potter?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I've been through this as former mayor now, when neighboring town, going from transitioning from township to a city, and the big push to preserve the ag. And it's a very noble concept, but in some areas, it's not prime ag to start with. And that's why sometimes in the ag, they do for rezoning for ag res or something. It makes sense. We're not taking the prime ag, and in particular property over there where the Youth with a Mission is, that hasn't been an agricultural use for more than 2 decades. I mean, and you can tell by the land, if you've ever been out there, it's not ever going to be that. It never was in the first place. It was not row cropped or anything like that. There are other places in the county that's it. Otsego, doesn't pick on them. All this stuff to preserve the ag, that went to the wayside when they got wastewater treatment plants and people wanted to do something with their land. They preserve the ag and the primate, do what we can to save it, but that's why we have Planning and Zoning Commission to see, okay, does this make sense or does this not make sense? So in some cases, they'll say, yes, it does warrant looking at, or they'll be just blunt and say, no, this doesn't fit. And I do trust the judgment of the planning and zoning. I can't say I agree with everything they do 100% of the time, but I think they actually do their homework. And I think they weigh the options and take the legal ramifications into play and what is best for the citizens long term.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have actually a question for Attorney Kreiser. And I'll make this statement. I actually found the 25,000 square foot requirement. I was thinking that was overly oppressive, and I actually talked to Commissioner Potter about this, and he said, well, see what New Beginnings has, and they're right in that area. So and they run about 50 people. So I'm thinking, okay, well, 25,000 square feet is a huge building if somebody were to build it, but I'm gonna kind of just leave that as it was written, I think. But I guess, there's different proposals that were put in, and the one that we're looking at today now has not been amended or anything else. It's the original one.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Borrell, yes, what you have before you in 20-1 is what the applicants filed for and submitted. It does not include any other proposed
Okay,
amendments that they submit.
so one, and Madam Chair, members of the board, I think something that would be worth considering is, there was concern about it being a treatment for sex offenders and stuff. And so some language was proposed that, and I'll just read it, treatment and recovery facilities shall not include facilities or programs that are also eligible for licensure or certification by the Minnesota Department of Corrections, because that is
Yep.
who handles those things. I would not be opposed to having that in. I'm going to vote for this ordinance change either way, but I think that's something that would be worth considering. I don't know, Attorney Kreiser, is that something that would, you know, you've heard some of the objections. You think that would help alleviate a little bit of the concern for the neighborhood if, in anywhere in the county where these were put in?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Borrell, I'm going to take a step back here as staff. It's my job to be nonpartisan in this situation, so I
Okay.
can't comment as to what the public
Madam
would do,
Chair, but I'm gonna
the
comment
provision
on it.
would be legally authorized to be inserted.
Okay.
Because, Madam Chair, that's just my concern with it, is that treatment recovery facility is very vague statement, and if it doesn't come back for a CUP review, it can easily, in 6 years, 7 years from now, become a treatment facility similar to that of some of like Moose Lake, and while that would be a much different conditional use than it would be as a chemical dependency facility.
But again, Commissioner Vetch, what we got to look at, if we don't have our local control, there's sex offenders that are right out in our county, they're all over, and they're licensed by the state right now. We have no control over. Jamie could have talked to that. I mean, we've gotten calls in from different, there's a house out here and they're doing that. Yep, they're licensed through the state. And we didn't even, I think they do usually notify us, and that's about it. We don't have a hearing or anything.
Well, exactly, and I'm with you on that side of it, because I also know that if we don't allow things like this to go in, it'll become like group homes where you can now have a $750,000 house in a neighborhood, and if somebody wants to build a group home out of a $750,000 house, they can do that and have shift workers there.
Yep.
And yes, we need to have places for those, but it's kind of that finesse game, and where is that and how does that work?
But
Well, there is a difference between, a chemical dependency treatment facility and something like Moose Lake, which is more of a lockdown
Yeah.
facility.
So the wording here, though, so is if it's eligible for the licensure through the state, that would be like a sex offender type program, whatever. So I think, like I said, it depends on the board. If somebody wants to put that in, I would support that as well, but.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. That's a change that they actually had requested, correct, Mr. Kreiser?
Madam Chair, that is correct. That's something that they requested. The Planning Commission didn't review it, so staff did not put it in to the
Okay.
formal version of 20-1 that's before you.
So that would be something that if we pass this, that we could include that in the language, and that would cover your concerns.
I think so.
Madam Chair, I would like to add that language, as well as in taking the acreage from 60 to 70 continuous acres.
Should we,
Commissioner Vetch, if you're making a motion to amend, could I
Yes.
also suggest just a friendly amendment on Section 3 in the title? After 155.111, insert the word treatment. See, I made a typo.
Yeah. And I will, as well as that one.
Madam Chair, should we introduce the ordinance first before we amend it, or just amend it and introduce that?
We've already introduced it, haven't
No, it's not been introduced here.
It's not been moved and seconded yet.
we?
So,
Okay.
But we could make that change and then introduce the ordinance with that change?
You could make that as part of the official first motion if you wanted.
Okay, so, Madam Chair, I'm going to make a motion to approve this zoning amendment with the change in language that Commissioner Vetch and Attorney Kreiser have just recommended.
All right? And is that just for the actual treatment facility?
Well, it would be for the zoning
But-
ordinance
I'm
amendment.
sorry.
Madam Chair, if you want, I can summarize what his motion is if you'd like.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm wondering if that includes the 78.
Commissioner Borrell moved that ordinance amendment 20-1 be approved by the county board with an amendment to section 1 by adding at the end of the paragraph, treatment and recovery facilities shall not include facilities that are also eligible for licensure by the Minnesota Department of Corrections. And then amending section 3, the title, after 155.111, inserting the word treatment. And in subpart 1, changing 60 contiguous acres to 70 contiguous acres.
All right,
Second.
you made that motion,
Yep.
and seconded by Commissioner Potter. Discussion.
Madam Chair, the planning and zoning met on this for only one occasion. Is that my understanding? Or were there two separate meetings regarding this whole thing?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dowlight, and they had one meeting.
Madam Chair, can I just comment to Commissioner Dawlighten's wording? Due diligence has been met on this item. This amendment is not issued indiscriminately. You know, there's over 100 pages of comments. You know, there's 3 hours of public record. And I don't know about you, I've had numerous phone calls and emails on every side of this, and even people that are on neither side, but wanting information on it. So I do believe due diligence has been met, but I think it was great that you questioned it from the fact that sometimes issues like this maybe have multiple meetings at planning and zoning.
Yeah, well, and that's one of my concerns. I will be abstaining from this one anyway. Their attorney is also my attorney from the group, which I just found out yesterday.
So you said, Mark, you're going to
I'll be
abstain?
abstaining.
Oh,
You
okay.
mean you're, okay, the attorney that presented, you mean? Okay.
So I feel that's probably the best.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dowlight, and a conflict is up to you, how you want to deal with it.
I'd just rather keep it separate, keep it away.
Okay. All right. Is there any other comments? All right, the motion before us is to accept this amendment to our zoning ordinance. There's no other discussion. I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And
And
that
I'll
carries,
abstain.
and one abstain. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, if I could, because I'm going to take off before 10, I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with Commissioner Potter and Commissioner Borrell here for the last 4 years.
Well,
So
that's likewise,
wish you the
Greg.
best. And Charlie, I guarantee you I will see you in Carbondale, Illinois on April 8th, 2024. So,
I have the perfect spot down there.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you, Greg.
In case people miss that, there's going to be a solar
Oh.
eclipse of the sun on,
Okay,
and
we got
Attorney
it last
Kreiser went way out to Yosemite? Oh,
Last time?
okay,
Grand
Grand
Tetons.
Tetons, and I went down to Carbondale, Illinois. The reason I went to Carbondale, the eclipse went right through Carbondale. Now, the other one that came from Oregon to South Carolina.
Yep.
This one's coming from Mexico up to New York, and they crisscross right there at
Oh, wow.
Carbondale, so.
I saw it in Nashville. We happened to be there, so,
You got it too then, yeah,
yep, one of the top places.
okay.
All right, thank you. Moving on to, we've already done our committee minutes, so administration, set date for committee of the whole to review our commissioner's handbook.
Yes, thanks, Madam Chair. We had discussed at our workshop in December and reviewed the Commissioners' handbook that we'd put together. At that time, we thought it'd be good to schedule a committee of the whole to discuss, have a good review of it with the Commissioners-elect as well. So knowing that first week gets kind of busy, I was looking at potentially later in that week, either maybe the 6th or the 7th. And I know Commissioner-elect Ketchmark is here, and I know Commissioner-elect Wetter is online, so.
All
We
right,
have them comment here if
So-
that works for them, if, Madam Chair.
yeah. Would, you're looking at the 6th or the 7th of January?
Yes, of January, morning would be preferred from
Yeah,
my
morning.
standpoint.
If we're still in AIS, we have AIS in the afternoon of the 7th, so,
Oh, we do?
Morning.
Geez, how did you, where did I miss that one?
I don't know.
So what time is that one on
I don't
January
know,
7th?
I have it penciled in anyway. Mr. Ketchmark, would that work for you on on Thursday, December 7th in the morning.
You said January 7th?
I'm sorry, January 7th? Yeah. Yep, Mary Wetter,
What time did you say?
we didn't really set a time
okay.
yet. Mary, did you hear what?
I'm on. I'm on.
What we're proposing to meet about the Commissioner Handbook on January 7th in the morning. If that works, would 9 o'clock work for everyone?
9:30 would be better, but
9:30?
What day of the what's the January 7th? What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Just a moment. Checking my calendar.
Okay. Does that work for
Works for me.
I can do it.
Charlie?
I can do it. I'm free.
All right,
January 7th
All
at
right.
9:30.
so I'll look for a motion to.
Madam Chair, I'll
set
make a motion to set a committee of the whole on January 7th at 9:30.
I'll second it.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Delyden for committee of the whole, 9:30 on Thursday, January 7th. Any more discussion, or any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that meeting is set. Thank you. And then the second item, Commissioner Vetch, is that you or?
Yes, so if all of you have got the resolution. One second here. So this has to do with a grant for the, through deed for energy-related, sorry, I'll kind of just want to pull up my notes here. So this is a grant program that was established to help power generating host communities facing the eventual closure of generating facilities. So this is pertaining to the Monticello nuclear plant. This is a grant that is up to $500,000, and part of the grant application is they are looking for the support from the county for this grant application through deed. So, Madam Chair, I would ask that we pass this resolution as part of their grant application. With that, Madam Chair, I make a motion.
I'll second
All
that.
right, motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Borrell for the resolution to support the City of Monticello Community Energy Transition Grant application.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
just out of curiosity, do they have some ideas on what they're planning on using the funds for?
Yeah, in the information that was given to me, because this came to me just the evening before Christmas Eve, they haven't given me the details of what they were part of their proposal yet, so I
I just
couldn't
know
speak
that
to
some
it.
of the resolution kind of says a specific thing, so that's why I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, because a lot of it's about job security in the community and tax base, maintaining the local tax base, but
yeah, it's, since 50% of their property tax payments come from the plant, it looks like they need to do some planning in the event that something, if they'd close.
yeah, unfortunately, I can't speak to that, unfortunately, because of the way the timing this came before my desk, and they have to have this turned in by January 4th, is they weren't able to give me a lot of details on it.
Well, it's
so.
certainly a valid request.
Yeah, I have no problem with
Yeah.
that.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is how deed operates. Very short windows to make your decisions up here. I'm applauding Monticello for applying for this because this is, for them, it's the elephant in the room, because that's being 50% of their tax base, that's a large transition away from that and completely changes the structure of how they do things there. And a person doesn't realize how many little details there are until you're in that bubble.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of things you wouldn't think of, and there's, that we gotta do this, we gotta do that. Everything, so I fully support this, and I think it's a good thing, and I'm applauding Monticello for taking the steps to try to be proactive in case of the worst case scenario here.
Well, Madam Chair, and that's where I here at the county, we've done that, plan for the worst and hope for the best, and the city of Monticello is doing the same, so that way it's a win-win for everybody, no matter how things play out with the power plant.
Yeah, it's also going to have a huge impact on the school
Yes.
district.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, yeah, no, I agree. Anything they can do to start planning for the future regarding that power plant it's not a waste
Yeah.
by any means. Because at some point in the future, it's going to go away.
All right, if there's no more discussion, roll call vote. Commissioner Potter?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, resolution passes 5-0. All right, thank you. So we've got about a 5-minute break, and then we're going to recognize some fine people here. We'll see you back. said, we have some very special people here that we're going to recognize. And Becky, if I can meet you at the podium.
Long reach.
What'd you bring files with for?
That's right.
Because I always have paper in my hands.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you didn't bring a big notebook to make a speech with.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we'll give her time to speak, but Becky, thank you so much for your years of service with Wright County. My goodness, you have recognition of 35 years as a Wright County employee, but also you have this nice plaque. Becky Annerud, 5/20/1985 to 1/8/2021. In appreciation of dedicated service to the Wright County Auditor Treasurer Department as a licensed bureau supervisor and the citizens of Wright County. Yeah.
Thank
for
you so much.
You've got your mug.
All right.
Do you have a few more?
I have
here
a
at
few
home?
more.
Okay.
Yes, I have a set.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's been quite the last few years for sure in your department, and you know, like I said, maybe we can just kind of pretend like Minlar's never happened.
Okay. Make it
If
just
that
go
would-
away.
I know,
Yes.
we could just magically go away, but yeah, really have been a pleasure knowing you and dedication and how you kept everything going, and then COVID.
Yes.
and coming up with some pretty ingenious ways to
Whole new
help
ways.
with that, yeah. So,
Yes.
so anyway,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Becky,
You're going to make me cry. Stop it. Thank you, Madam Chair and Board. Thank you doesn't just really seem like enough. I've called this courthouse my home for 35 years. My second home, I should say. And I've been here through the years of my marriage, the loss of our boys, the arrival of our girls. I've had great times. I've had hard times. I've made friends that will last forever. And I've been blessed with a great team of coworkers and staff that are the absolute best. I will always be thankful for these people that I consider a true gift. I started in administration, as maybe you don't all know, in the summer of 1984. I filled in as a temp for 6 weeks while Dorothy Larson traveled to Alaska to see her son. Ozzie Arlene hired me in May of 1985 because Gloria Guler remembered me from helping her with the county board minutes the summer before. So Gloria is the one who actually put in that good word for me. In the License Bureau at that time, there were 5 of us: Vern Johnson, Ines Quist, Maxine Frankie, Kathy Fairbanks, part-time, and myself. Everything was written out by hand. We used carbon paper, whiteout, and typewriters. I started doing game and fish full-time and helped with motor vehicle and driver's license. I knew every bait shop owner in the Wright County, and I became friends with them. I became a lead clerk under Sue Reef in 1997, and I became a supervisor of the License Bureau on March 17th of 2009. I've worked under 4 different county auditors: Ozzie Arlene, Darla Groshans, Doug Gruber, and Bob Hevola. I've worked for supervisors was Vern Johnson, Ines Quist, and Sue Reef. I have so many wonderful people that I consider friends for life, and I've been privileged to work with so many people. I will remember some of the things that people won't know now, is we wrote everything by hand. Reports, pre-bills, everything. We had a phone at the counter, just in case somebody forgot their insurance, they could call their insurance agent. If a customer did not have their pre-bill and we had to call St. Paul to verify their expiration and their ownership, that would take a long time. There were 4 of us full-time: Vern, Ines, Maxine, and me. Our budget was so low that we had to bring our own pens, purchase our own rulers, use only Post-its for the most special things, and cut up our own scratch paper.
wow.
There were times that it was so quiet in the License Bureau, yes, quiet, that we would bring our favorite recipes and write them out and share them with each other.
Were the good old days.
Those
right?
were the good old days, yes. We each had a typewriter, an adding machine or calculator, And I was thinking back, and I think I have worn out 4 calculators in the last 35 years. I'm also known for collecting the $2 bills that come through our office, so I have a good bundle of those. Some milestones is I remember taking in Kirby Puckett's fishing license. I remember 1 computer at the counter, computers then at our desks, ooh, big time. We added the staff from 4 to now there's 9 of us. I survived 2 remodeling projects. We worked through COVID. We're still working through COVID, and we did it. We did it. Some fun memories I will always have is Maxine falling off her chair right in front of me, laying on the floor. People asking if the extension office was where they went to extend their driver's licenses. I remember telling people to put their forehead on the footprints so I could take their picture. Telling customers that I'll be back with them in a couple weeks instead of a couple minutes. Having lines and lines and lines of customers. I remember doing a marriage license for a couple when he had been married 10 times, and I was so sure that I was on candid camera at that time. I remember Lori and Sue leaving their cars run all day in the parking lot. My daughter telling her friends that I was a judge, and they were all very afraid of me, and I couldn't figure out why. Me telling every new employee that there was absolutely no way for them to make any mistake that I have not, because I've done them all. Someone once told me years ago that Wright County employees take care of each other. This is true. We are one big dysfunctional family. We are.
We put the fun in dysfunctional.
Yes, we do. Many thanks to my current staff, to Jesse, Kayla, Monica, Lori, Marie, Ashley, Shauna, and Vicky. You are the rock stars, and you make it work every day. I adore you all, and I will miss you all terribly. Thanks to the bailiffs, also Rob, especially Rob, who watches out for us and keeps out the riffraff. Thanks to Bob, Tammy, Carissa, Heather, and Trinity for all your encouragement and for all the fun staff meetings that we've had. Thanks to the many, many people I have met and worked with for the last 35 years. Thanks to the citizens of Wright County, you've been fun and made every day memorable. I thank my parents for teaching me great work ethic, my sisters Jean Tasler and Debbie Ernst. It's been so cool to work with them and to take breaks for so many years. The break room at Wright County will never be the same without the Christensen girls. Also to my family, my husband Mike, who's put up with me for the last 35 years, my daughters Bethany and Lauren, and my son-in-law Donovan. They are the best part of me. As I look to the future, I look forward to waking up without an alarm clock, sitting in front of my fireplace reading some of those books that I just keep stashing in my bookcase, traveling around Lake Superior with my 2 favorite guys, Mike and Tucker, my dog, and relaxing without having to make any decisions. Thank you all, Wright County.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say thank you, Becky, for all, that's coming from all the people in our county, because when you took over the supervising of the DMV, you have a work ethic, you have something in you that says we're here to serve the people, and that went out amongst everybody there. For your tenure, anybody that goes back, 20 years ago, whatever, to DMV, and then they are there now, they just see a different atmosphere in the entire place. And if anybody wants to thank somebody, it's right there. It's Becky that did that. So thank you very much.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll miss you, Becky.
We will.
Thank you. I'll miss you all too,
Yeah.
very much.
So our latest building is the reason why you couldn't go through another
No
remodeling?
more remodeling.
That was it, final straw?
That was the last straw.
Madam Chair, Bob has his hand up.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Hey, Bob. You have your hand up.
Hey, Becky, I'm sorry I'm not there today. I do want to thank you for all your hard work. I am so glad you didn't quit in this whole Minlars thing. If anybody would have understood why somebody would quit, trying to provide the services that you have always provided, and you didn't quit, and you helped steward the other staff through it, I thank you. Also, can you explain to everybody how the kindergarten work release program started? How you could start when you were in kindergarten?
Yes, Bob. I started right I was the youngest in the office for many, many years. But people asked me how long I've been there, and I said 35 years, and they were looking at me like, really? And I said, yeah, I started kindergarten work release. I was 5, because I'm only 40 now. So that's the story.
That's a good one.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Vic.
All right.
Thanks, Becky.
Thanks, Becky.
All right. Administrator Kelly.
All right. Well, where has 8 years gone?
Oh, yeah.
The time has flown by, and we get the honor, duty to recognize the two of you and start. I anticipate others may have comments, but the time has flown by, I feel. I'm guessing you both feel the same. I just look back at all the things that have been accomplished since your time on the board. It's been a very busy, very productive period for Wright County. It certainly has not been without its controversy at times, but I certainly thank you both for your leadership. Charlie, I know at times we had our disagreements, but what I loved about you, you always spoke your mind.
Yeah.
I always knew where Charlie was pretty much going
That's
to be.
right.
You always stuck up for the little guy, and for that you always have had my respect.
Thank you, Lee.
And, I've really enjoyed the times talking shop and talking farm with you. It's been great. I think the first memory I have of Charlie Borrell was at an early AMC conference when you dubbed yourself the parliamentarian of the General Government Committee, and made a lot of friends that day, I recall. So, fun experience as a new coordinator at the time, so it was fun.
Yep, I was pretty good on Robert's Rules of Order there.
You are. And I will defer.
I don't follow them myself, but I know them.
Exactly right. And I guess I'll never look at a plate of donuts or lemon bars without thinking about Charlie either. So with that, I have this official plaque to share with you, Charlie. And additionally, something else we wanted to share with you, knowing that you've been very passionate about drainage and ditches at Wright County, we've prepared something additional, so I'll bring this to you here.
Okay, thank you, Lee.
Mark, are you going to take over?
Nope, I'll leave this here, Mike, for you to,
Very nice.
Dick Mattson left his notepad thing here, so you'll get that too.
Charlie, come around here.
Oh, no.
What do you mean, oh, no?
I know.
You've been known, and I agree with Lee, I'm going to mention, you speak your mind, we can have our disagreements, but you forgive me, and you still love me. So, I appreciate that. But there have been a number of things that you've been known for as a commissioner. And one of the things you taught me was that the county ditches were the things alongside the roads.
Yeah.
Which, when somebody said a county ditch, well, that's what's alongside the road, but it's not.
You should move over in front
Completely
of
different.
so they can see, yeah, so they can see you
So,
better.
on
Oh,
the
yeah,
camera. Anyway, there's a few of us that came up with some different ideas. And unfortunately, we couldn't find a sign big enough. So we decided to keep it kind of simple and make it a little bit smaller. So Charlie, we have Commissioner Charlie Borrell, 2013 to 2020. And some of your popular sayings, darn near Russia. Caution, Commissioner Potter, we have to thank her about don't poke the bear. And then, unfortunately, Greg left. Yeah. Unfortunately, Greg left, but, one of the other most popular sayings that you have is, Greg will probably tell me this is illegal, but. I think about 99.9% of the time it's it. So Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, and that's not for me, that's from all of us.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie, when, one thing that was evident from the very beginning was how passionate you are and, you know, your service. And we didn't always agree, but at the end of the day, I mean, had trust for one another, mutual respect, and we've, you know, laughed and had some jokes too, and so, I'll really miss you.
Okay, well, I have a few closing comments, but I don't know if we should wait for Mike to,
Madam Chair, I just want
We
to
can
say
do
one more
one, yeah,
thing
we
here.
can do one at a time.
okay.
Charlie, you embody what it means to be an elected official. Your citizen advocacy is enormous, and I tell you, you've done such amazing things for the people of Wright County and for the people of your district. And I love the fact that you don't shy away from the hard decisions, and you move straight forward on getting things done, whether it may be popular or not. You will go out there and educate and go to the point of trying to get the hard work done, and for that, I will miss you. I wish I had more than 4 years with you. It wasn't long enough.
Thank you, Dan.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Potter.
Well, I have a little different story than Commissioner Vetch does. I've known Charlie for a long time. We didn't meet at the county board. We met at a,
What bar was it?
Or a beer
it
party.
was a country get-together with adult beverages somewhere.
I still think it was a beer party at Decker's, I'm not sure.
I will confirm that's where it was. And I got to meet a few of his other family members that had, other ones there, but no, Charlie, one thing, you've got a big heart, he cares, and that's the epitome of what you should be when you're up here. You take the issue, go out and poke the bear. You need people that'll poke the bear once in a while. You can't just sit here and just be complacent. You need to fight for what you believe in. You know, even if Chrysler tells you you're wrong, you still got to fight for it. And I do appreciate that, because when you bounce things off, and it's a perspective that people need to know. That's what makes this board what we've done so well, is we've got different perspectives, and you respect one another on that. And I've shown that you've done that well. That's like, say, the bear was the obvious poke the bear, because that's what Charlie likes to do, and that's his job here. You know, and I'm gonna miss you. I'm not gonna miss you that much, because I'll see you when all this nonsense goes away. But I'll see you again. But no, it's been a pleasure for 8 years working with you. And one thing I do know, that remember from when you were chair one year, you realize, oh my Lord, that's a tough job. I don't know if I want to do that again.
No, if I would have stayed on the board, I would have passed over.
Yeah, because it's a lot of extra work, because you have to prep and you got to run the show, and it's a little different. It's a harder deal, but and we've all had this time to do things. So you had 4 years of Pat, and then you had 4 years of Derek. Now you got to make the call.
Oh, no.
You know Pat's watching right now.
That's all I got, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair? I don't know what else I can say, Charlie, but I'm going to miss you. You've been fun to work with. You've taught me a lot of different things. I respect your values. So, and like Commissioner Potter said, this isn't the last time we'll see you. You'll be around. You'll be here complaining at the Truth and Taxation.
Lane and I will be here. No.
Yeah, you'll be whining about taxes, property taxes on ag land, so I know we're gonna see you again.
Yeah.
Well,
You will
thank
be
you,
missed.
thank you. Madam Chair, I just wanted to say real quickly here. In 2013, I went down, I think it was during lunchtime, we went down to Hewsom's shoe store, and I bought 2 pairs of shoes, and 8 years later, those quality shoes are still in use.
Hey.
And I can, there you go. I can see why you went out of business, because they never wear out. No, just joking, but I just wanted to say, serving with Commissioner Sawatsky, who I knew Pat a little bit before, and I just got to really admire Pat, and I think he's just such a great guy. Derek, it's just him and I share values, and I think what he's saying about me, I could say right back to him. His passion and his care for the little guy. I think Jamie or somebody mentioned it one time, but on the other hand too, I really appreciated all of our staff, because you can't help the little guy out without the staff support. And one of the first things I had was and I don't want to get too much into it, but when Jamie was running financial, I called up and I said, this person I think is really being treated unfairly. And Jamie was just appalled, and she said, whoa, let me get right back to you. She called me back, it wasn't 10 minutes later, and says, you can call your constituent back. It's taken care of. And I'm like, wow, that made me look so good. And so thank you, Jamie, for that, That wasn't the only one, don't get me wrong. You've helped lots of other times too. But as did other department heads. I mean, you get that call, about the culvert that's plugged up over on the road, and gosh, what am I supposed to do, I call Virgil up or I call Chad up, and they're out there that afternoon and it gets done. And I said, it doesn't happen all the time like that. When it does, though, it sure makes you feel good. And so really appreciate all of our department heads that way, and just the workers out in the county. So I was asked one time, oh gosh, probably not too far into my commissioner, maybe it was 6 years ago or so, and they says, what do you think is the most frustrating part of your job? And I said, I said, I think it's that I'm only one vote. And he asked me, the farmer, and he asked me just recently, about a year ago, and he said, do you remember what you said years back? And I said, no, what did I say? And then he reminded me of that, and I said, it's still true. But no, truly though, the people ask about the job, and I see my replacement is here. Mike, I appreciate you coming too. But the most rewarding part of the job is to be able to go out and help that constituent that just sometimes just needs to navigate through the system, They're not coming to get their driver's license extended at the extension office, But sometimes it's something as simple as that, and sometimes it's more involved. But those issues are the most rewarding. And like I said, sometimes it's frustrating, but it's rewarding, but it's still a job I would never give up. And I mean, not since I never give up, I would never turn down the opportunity to serve again. So, and then I just wanted to say, since I became commissioner, I wanted to be accessible. My cell phone has been out there, and so I have to say a special thank you to my wife, who was here for my first meeting and she's here for my last. But to be able to develop a skill to where she could tune out my conversations at 7 o'clock at night, talking to somebody on the phone. She'd either turn the TV up a little louder or whatever, but she developed a knack to deal with that. So thank you for her patience and support all the way through. The other thing, I got cards and letters and phone calls and some people in the county, and it just makes me so appreciated that I think I could cry with Becky, So, but anyway, no, thank everyone, and the board here. I mean, I truly call every one of you friends, And Mark, what you were saying about me, there's no more of a decent guy than Mark. He's people that know him. He cares so much about people. He's taken people in, got them on their feet, and and different stuff. And Mike, it's always the life of the party. And and I said this at a meeting. I don't know if it's at a meeting, but Commissioner Hewsome, when she was board chair 4 years ago, 6 years ago,
It was
quite a while back. But anyway, we were kind of getting a little not so nice at the board meetings, and Chris kind of reined us in, not at a board meeting, but just individually. She put out an email and I'm not going to tolerate the snips. We're going to clean it up, and it worked. And so I thank you for that, because we might not be as close of friends if it wasn't for getting straightened out years ago, so. But no, I said, every one of you just, I would say friends, and Derek, it's just been great to have you on the board, and I just, you know, you stay on there, because I want to be able to call you up. You know, so. Thank you all, and Matt and everybody else,
Yeah.
John, you guys all, thank you, so.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your top back follow, Charlie. So does that mean we're adjourned?
No, don't leave yet.
Well, there's one other person yet, too. Mike, like I said, 8 years has flown by. I know you've been very passionate about a lot of the projects that we had going at the county and really helped move those along. Appreciated your support in those, and I know with the other board members as well. Like I said, there's been times these things have been controversial, but I think as a group we've always helped to make it fun, and I think you were kind of the king of helping to keep it light and fun. So you always brought a very interesting perspective to things, and I always thought that was great. So this is probably the most formal conversation you and I have had in my time working with you. That's okay too. So certainly have appreciated also your efforts, flying all over, basically being a lobbyist on behalf of Wright County and different things, specifically in transportation as well. You know, every time you drive 94, I'll probably think of you in some way. So with that, I have some formal stuff for you here. I've got to put together something for you also that we thought you might enjoy. Years of service.
Mark, oh.
And since you've been our transportation guru,
Virgil?
Oh, no.
put together county number 8 for 8 years. And of course, we had to get your slogan. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Go in front of the.
That is, unfortunately, that is a fact when you're dealing with the legislature and Congress. That's, and I'd like to say that was my main goal getting down here in the first place. Keep in mind that I ran 4 times for this job before I got it. My focus was transportation, economic development. Transportation was a little bit more fruitful in getting things done here. Economic development's on its way. It takes a while to get these things done. I served on a lot of committees that were above and beyond what this job is, but that's what it takes to get us at the table.
Yeah, and you were also chair on a lot of those committees. I think there's only 2 of them on there that you weren't chairs of.
I was chairing all these. I-94 West, no, I wasn't, because Adam Steve did that one. That's it, all the rest of them I was, yes. A lot of time down at the Capitol, which doesn't get extra pay, although Commissioner Swatsky did offer to pay extra for that, but I think that would be tough for the citizens of Wright County to understand that one, because that's not the job of the county commissioner. Going to D.C., got to meet a lot of interesting people and know how they function, and hopefully one of these years a build grant, Wright County will actually get one. From some of our congressmen out there that aren't from this district. That game is a little different than it's been fun, and I just have accomplished all the goals I set forward for myself when I came. Also, leaving is bittersweet that you still would like to hang out a little bit more, but it is. I mean, I wish Mary all the luck in the future, and the county and on this board here, because we've become close, we work well together, and the department heads and the people who work with here, they're great. I went on the radio every time and tell people, if you think all they're doing is sitting, eating donuts and drinking coffee, you're wrong. They're actually doing a lot of people's work. That, when you get to that counter and you want to be served, there's a whole lot of people behind there getting what you need done. That was the thing. Radio, and Mary, you're going to love this. when you start, write out what you're gonna talk about. Tim Matthews loves that, because then you guys know how to keep it flowing. Every time they get me, instead of 20 minutes, it's been 30 to 40 minutes every single time, so and I stop at 2 pages worth talking about it. I will miss this, but there will be, other in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, yes, Mike, as Lee mentioned, I mean, you have been an unpaid lobbyist for this county for 8 years, and, I mean, how can we, you know, put a value on that with all that you've been able to accomplish? And you are, you know, you're driven, you're tenacious, and you have vision, and...
She forgot the pain in the rear.
But she was getting to that, just give her a chance.
And you are the king of one-liners, that's for sure. Charlie's even keeping kind of writing them down.
We should have, that's something I regret not doing, is to start writing down from day one.
Yep.
We would have had a book.
And, you
Commissioner
know,
Grissom has the acronym book.
yeah, that's right. And, you know, like I told Charlie, you know, we haven't always been on the same side of an issue, but, you know, we get up here, we say what we believe in, and I've, you know, always trusted you. You're honest, and we're gotten to be close, like you said, so.
Well, like I say, on votes, you take your vote, when it's over, it's over.
Yep.
And like with former Commissioner Swatsky, we had a few talks on this. Keep in mind, my history with him goes way back when I was mayor, but that's, you know, thing is, you know, if you don't get your 3 votes you're looking for, either A, didn't sell it good enough, or B, it was a bad idea, one or the other.
That's true. That's true.
You know, and we all advocate for what we believe in, and that's what makes, instead of everybody being the yes men conformist, everybody's got their opinions, ideas, and the diverse backgrounds we come from is what makes this board, I think, function well. And AMC recognized that we're, I got that from Matt Hilgert and the rest. He's going to miss Charlie the most of the bunch out there. That they thought that our board had such a nice mix to it, because a lot of them have all retired farmers or all retired cops, all retired teachers, where we have a little different blend here, which is kind of nice. And it's a cross section of what Wright County is, because we're no longer a rural county. You know, and going from rural to collar urban rural thing, that's probably the toughest transition for a county to get to, and I think we as a board have navigated that pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that, because we're all very different personalities, and we have different, you know, backgrounds, but we all, you know, care. We're here to serve the people, and you've done that well. But Virgil, you have a comment.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to say that I'd like to let Commissioner Potter know and the board know I've really appreciated working with Commissioner Potter the past 8 years, and his tremendous passion and advocacy for transportation has been unparalleled in the 26 years that I've worked for the county, and that's going to be greatly missed. You know, not just the local level, but at regional level and state level. He was at the table, so Wright County was never on the menu. And I really appreciated working with you, and best of luck in the future.
Yeah. Thank you, Virgil. It's been a pleasure working with you, Chad, and your staff. They're your top shelf out there. I mean, the people, of all the things they talk about, oh, they got new equipment. Hey, what does it cost if it breaks down? You want your road plowed, it gets plowed. You want this, you want that. Great staffing. I'm glad I was able to push the issue and get you the Virgil's Village out there. I mean, very few people have a village named after them.
Yeah, thank you, Virgil. And Bob Hevola, you have a comment.
Hey, both Charlie and Mike, I want to thank you. Both of you are dedicated commissioners. Mike, I can sincerely tell you that I don't think I ever had a lunch with you that I didn't walk away learning something else. And I mean that sincerely. Every single lunch we had, I learned something else. Charlie, I liked your no-nonsense approach to the issues. So I will miss both of you guys, so thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Batch.
Commissioner Potter, your passion for core values of government and working for the greater good may not even be appreciated yet, but is going to be a long-lasting legacy for you in the years to come. Your passion for it has made so many things that are already in construction or even being possible in years to come forward. You championing some of the hard to stomach things, but will make sustainability and quality of life in Wright County immensely, I guess I get, the quality of life just being amazing in years in the sustainability and you being able to work with all of us and helping us make that sustainability possible. I can't thank you enough. You've taught me a lot. I've appreciated working side by side with you. I will miss you once again. Like Commissioner Borrell, 4 years wasn't enough. It's a sad departing, and I wish you the best.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. I know I pushed you a few times, and I know how far I can push you before you get all bent out of shape, which is good, because you got pushed, you reacted, and you grew, you got better for everything here, which is good. That's what you want, okay? We can agree to disagree on things, but the idea at the end of the day, we all serve 140,000 citizens of Wright County, and we need to do what's right for them going forward. And that's, some people don't get that. I mean, we're not here just to get away from our significant others and spend 4 years just talking and bull. We've got some serious work that has been done the last 8 years. I don't think there's been a busier county board in this state than us. In fact, I'm pretty darn sure of it. A lot of changes, and like I say, a lot of them unpleasant for some people, GOQ public, but sometimes you just have to get it done, get it over with. And everybody knows, and I know Mr. Ketchmark doesn't like that phrase, kick the can down the road, but that's one thing I just bothers the bejeebers out of me. When you, yeah, smashed up, yeah. But when you gather your facts, you make your decision, and you move forward with it. You might, and like former Commissioner Spassky says, we have only a choice of decisions I don't like. Well, welcome to life. Life isn't easy. We just got to make those decisions and live with the consequences of what happens. I feel Wright County's in a real good place where financially we got from AA plus. That took a team effort for everybody to get there. Capital improvement program went from virtually zero into now we need to know where we got to go. And it takes a while to get there from zero to where we need to be. Our infrastructure is all up to date, so we're set for decades in the future, this county is. And then how we deal with this thing, that's the EDA, I don't think this is going to take as long as you realize, because there's a lot of pent-up demand out there for especially this county. And I'm still proud that the tax rate is still the same as it was when we came in office.
Yep.
So all those that said that we should just jack in taxes, well, look at the facts. The tax rate is the facts. It's been a fun ride, but it is time to move on and to do something else.
I think that, you will be sought. You will be sought, so, after.
Some words might even be pleasant.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do appreciate, Mike, there's a lot of convincing us to go with the local option sales tax was one of the best things we did. If you wouldn't have helped educate us on that, there are a lot of projects in this county that would have never gotten accomplished because the funding was not available. And I was looking at some numbers last night off the Department of Revenue site, and it really didn't cost the residents of this county very much with that additional sales tax.
Right.
It came from outside the county. So thank you for convincing us to figure out a way to help move this county forward. And like Derek says, you have gotten us helped get us planned for the next many decades for this county, so that when you and I are really old,
Next year?
I was gonna give it a couple more years. I was waiting until we got to be Charlie's age.
That's wishful thinking, is it?
Thank you for not saying my age.
So anyway, I'm grateful for everything that you have done for the county and the residents. Without you, there's a lot of things that would have never happened, and I appreciate it.
It did take him 4 years to convince all of us, so thank you for keeping at us,
Yep.
because, you know, it needed to happen, and we just needed to fully understand that either we raise people's property taxes, or we go with the old option sales tax to get these road projects done, and so that's, he had that vision, and he convinced us.
Yeah, just imagine if it would have been something even more important, how long it would have taken them to educate us on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the thing is, with the legislature didn't make it real clear when they did it. We just knew the metro counties could do it, then they opened it to all 87 counties, and then all the questions arise, and it was kind of not there, but the facts were on the side of doing it. And to me, the tipping point was when myself and Lyndon Robejet, the engineer from Carver County, went there and testified in the House, and both sides of the aisle basically said, you know, you come down here begging for money for your problems. We gave you the tools, why don't you use them? Carver County went with the sales tax, the excise tax, and the wheelage tax. So they went all three. They went the whole gamut. But in our case, you know, and what the legislature did with that is made it so you have to use it for road projects only, not for tough books or anything else. It's just for this, and it has to be on a list, which is nice because it also gives you, it doesn't go on forever. All those things never go away because you never run out of project. When you're a growing county, you probably won't. If we're a couple counties out, definitely would. You know, because we got so much growth, and by 2040, we're gonna have 4 cities that are gonna be over 30,000 people. The dynamics of that change. Anybody who did urban planning, that's part of what I went to school for. He said, it's just crazy. I mean, our next elephant in the room for transportation is Monticello with that river crossing. Got to get that done, got to keep working towards that. But it's a process, it's like a chess game. You got to keep doing this and keep on Congressman Emmer for the NEPA process and get that passed so that's real streamlined, so it doesn't take 40 years like the Stillwater Bridge. That's just a shame. That is what happened there was a shame.
So are you saying Derek can't leave until that bridge is built?
I don't think Monticello will let him leave. I think he'll be
How
forced
about we
to.
don't live long enough, I know.
Mary Wetter, you have your hand up?
Uh-oh.
Must be muted.
Mary?
Hi, this is Mary Wetter. I want to thank Mike for all the things that he's done to improve transportation in Wright County. I've got some big shoes to fill. I hope I can manage it okay. Also, as a outgoing deputy chair on the Soil and Water, I'd like to thank Charlie for his all that he's done for the One Watershed, One Plan. He made sure that Wright County, all the money that they've put into that we're getting something back. And I really appreciate for his hard work there. I know in the beginning, it was a little rocky between the Soil and Water Board and Charlie. And I hope that somehow we iron those out. I think he's changed his attitude about a lot of things we did. Also like to thank him for all that ditch work he's done. That's tremendous. And I just want to thank you both. You've been a true asset to the county board. And I'll end here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
And Madam Chair,
Yes.
Mary's gonna walk in a good situation. We've got good people here to work with, and we've got great staff to work with. You're not coming into a hostile situation or really divided. It's a lot of good people here to work with. The transition will not be as hard as she thinks, and my feet are only size 10.5, so not that big a shoes to fill.
Did anyone else have any comments? Otherwise, we'll, yeah. All right, well, all we can say is happy trails, and we hope to see you soon.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, good.
Well, we'll definitely be seeing him in the back room because
Okay.
I've got cake back there.
So if there's nothing else to come before the board, we are adjourned at 10:51. We'll see you in 2021.
We'll see y'all.